TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy, business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsuranceguy.com. And Elder Care Services of DeKalb County, safe, secure, and supported, helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ECS DeKalb. And welcome into TD Ryan Unleashed, podcast number 30. Honored and privileged to have with us today Reverend Joe Mitchell. Joe Mitchell from the Project Hope and also from the First Baptist Church. We're going to learn more about that. But what is Project Hope? They were established in 2022 by leadership and congregation of the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church as a means to invest more time and resources into the community surrounding us. Project Hope is a goal-driven independent 501c3 organization. They serve DeKalb County, especially northern quadrant area of the struggles with youth crime, poverty, and high dropout rates. Their theory of change is rooted in reinforced, person-centered programs and intervention being the building blocks of the meaningful community change. And here to talk about that is Reverend Joe Mitchell from the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church. Joe, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Thank you so much. It's kind of a mouthful there, but you guys really cover a lot of ground there. And I wonder if you could clarify it for us. We're going to talk about this more in specifics, but your theory about change rooted in reinforced, person-centered programs and interventions being the building blocks of meaningful community change. What do you mean by that, Joe?
Sure. Great question. So one of the ways that you start to change communities is you have to change individuals, and you have to help them understand who they are, what they were created to be, and the potential that they have to do great things. And that starts on the inside. So our programs start by looking at people interiorly, helping them to understand who they are and the great potential that they have, and then connecting them to resources and to other programs that are going to help develop them to be amazing, upstanding citizens in our community.
I love that. I saw a great quote the other day. It said, if you want things to change, you have to act differently. And a lot of us, we want to change, but we don't want to do the work, though, do we, Joe?
Absolutely, yeah. I heard another quote before, too. Be the change that you envision, or something to that effect. So, yeah, the change starts with us. If we want to see things be different, we really have to start with the inside, who we are, and that's how we start to change things around us as well.
Well, tell us about the name Project Hope. I think it says so much right there. Tell us about that. We're going to talk about the community center as well, but
sure.
Tell us about that name and how you came up with that.
Absolutely. So HOPE is an acronym, and the acronym stands for Health, Opportunity, Purpose, Education, and Empowerment. And those are the principles that we use to run our non-for-profit. And we really think those are really the most important things that we can give people to help them change the trajectory of their lives. And as their lives change, then communities change as well. So helping them to be healthier, connecting them to greater opportunities, helping them to understand their purpose, where mobility starts with education. And then lastly, when people are empowered, then they feel that they can do greater things.
I love that. And I know it's just the way it was laid out, but you start with hope. I think hope is such an important word, isn't it? Because we hear people being hopeless and they get to a certain point in their lives where they just do give up at that point, don't they, Joe?
They do. And, we're living in some crazy times right now where it's easy to give up. And so I think when we reestablish and give people hope, give people a reason to think differently, give people a reason to live, then they think differently. When they start to think differently, they start to act differently, they start to get engaged differently, and that's again how we start to make positive change.
Now, health is one too. Locked up. I read another quote the other day about that. We sacrifice our health to make all this money when we're younger, and then we spend all that money when we're older trying to get our youth back. Our
Absolutely.
Health back. But health is important, right?
It's critical. We had an amazing 12-month partnership with Northwestern Medicine and with the Mental Health Board, where we had 12 community engagements. It was a program called Community Wellness, and once a month we brought different experts in different fields around the idea of holistic health. And so we looked at the mind, we looked at the body, we looked at nutrition, we looked at physical exercise, we looked at financial health. All of it was free. All of it was for whoever came, so that we could help people in a holistic way look at health a lot different.
Very good. I remember reading the depression with 1 out of 4 people being out of work, and a lot of guys you talk to, they said, just wanted an opportunity to work. That's all they wanted is an opportunity. I see opportunity is one of the words. Tell us about that, what that opportunity means there.
Yeah. So one of the things that's important is you have to give people opportunities. So how do we connect people who are looking to do bigger and better things, how do we connect them to opportunities? So is that employment? Is that opportunity for better housing? Is that opportunity to get more education? Is that opportunity to get a GED? And so we really believe that it's important for us to create or make those connections to opportunities, again, helping to change people's trajectory in their life when they have greater opportunity to do so.
Because any number of those things you mentioned could hold you back and keep you from doing what you were meant to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we know opportunity can be tough. Sometimes it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know. So if we can bring in the right people who have access, who know where the opportunities are and connect them with people who are looking for the opportunities, then we believe that we're doing our mission.
Now, purpose, this one really hits home for me. I lost my job after 25 years at a radio station that kind of just let us all go.
Yep.
And I got up the next morning and I had no purpose. I had no reason to get up in the morning. And that's so important to have that, isn't it?
It really is. And I think you have to understand your purpose for yourself. I think too often people are told what their purpose is, but I think people really have to take the opportunity to really do some self-reflection and really understand, hey, who am I and what is it that I love to do? I had a professor along the way that said, we must do the work that our soul can't live without. And that's how we start to understand our purpose. What is it that drives us? What is it that we have to do that makes us happy, helps us to understand what our purpose is?
That's great. I heard the term feeding your soul, but that really captures it right there. That's great. And of course, you mentioned earlier empowerment and education, and you said it all starts with education, really.
Yeah, education is a big piece, and I think one of the things that we have to do is we have to broaden our scope of education past just high school, college, and so on. Education also includes the trades. Becoming a plumber, becoming an electrician, becoming a construction worker, that all involves some level of education. And so we want to make sure that we're making those opportunities available as well and connecting people to those apprenticeships as well. Again, that education leads to a livable wage, and as people are connected and make a living wage, then their life changes, the trajectory of their family changes, because now they're making the amount of money that they need to sustain their family and do bigger and better things.
Yeah, and the pride in your work, right?
Well, there's a major pride in your work when you're making a living wage, and you don't necessarily have to live from check to check, and you don't have to worry about where's my next meal coming from. There definitely is a pride in it. We're hoping with that pride also comes the responsibility that you feel to give back. I've done some better things in my life. I'm doing better in my life. Now, how do I reach back and help somebody else do better with their life as well?
Now, I want to talk about community sector. We'll talk about the middle. You've already gotten some help, and we want to see how people can help as well. But I noticed my favorite question when I was on the radio was nature versus nurture. Would you be doing what you're doing if, say, your parents weren't doing that? And obviously, your father, being a very prominent person, just had a school named after him. Would Joe's life take a different direction if your dad wasn't doing that? Do you think?
Well, definitely influenced by my dad, but I have to be honest, influenced by both of my parents. Grew up in an amazing, loving home where my parents, they love everybody, and that's what they instilled in us as kids. That we have a responsibility to love, but we also have a responsibility to help as well. So yeah, there's no question that how I was raised, the home that I was raised in, had a major influence in who I am and the things that are important to me.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't realize until I dove into researching your father that you had so many stepchildren that came through.
Foster kids.
Foster kids.
Foster kids. Yeah.
What was that like for you, Joe, with all the foster kids?
Great question. No, it was amazing. So I think DCFS said, I believe it was somewhere around 50, somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 foster kids passed through our home where we lived. My parents still live there today. My parents have been in that house now, I'm 50. They've been there for 45 years. And, part of the reason why they became a foster home was because my dad was adopted, and he knew that he wanted to give back in the same way that my grandparents gave back to him. And so it really helped me understand and define what love looks like, right? Love is really wanting better for somebody else than you want for yourself. And that was the home that my mom and my dad created. 3 of those that passed through our house became my brother and sister. My brother and sisters are all adopted, love them all dearly as if we share the same DNA. But it had a major influence on me and wanting to help other people. My wife and I became foster parents. Adopted 3 kids ourselves, and our hope is that our kids at some point will do the exact same thing. When they become successful and establish themselves, that they reach back out and give somebody an opportunity to live a different life that will hopefully put them on a different trajectory in life.
Oh, well put there, Joe. Wow, that's great. And I said, just so impressed by your parents. We talked to Sheriff Roger Scott. We just unfortunately lost him, and I didn't realize until I interviewed Roger Scott that him and his wife had fostered so many children through the years. Just an incredible thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually graduated with one of his sons, as a matter of fact.
Is that right?
Dan, yeah. Yeah, I graduated with Dan Scott.
And tell us about your lovely wife, Andrea.
Andrea. Yep. So we're not going to hold it against her. She's from Sycamore. She's a Spartan, but we're not going to hold
live and let live, right?
Yeah, live and let live, right? We're not going to hold that against her. We actually grew up together in the same church. Crazy enough, we couldn't stand each other growing up, even as teenagers. In high school, we ran in the same circle of friends, and we just couldn't stand each other. I thought she was a cocky athlete. She thought I was a cocky athlete, and just could not stand each other. And crazy enough, in our late teens, we ended up going on a date, and the rest of it is the rest of kind of history. So we just celebrated our 24th year of marriage, October 6th, and she is executive director of schools in Rockford. She has a lifelong career in education. She taught she taught in Maywood. She taught here in DeKalb, I believe, for 7 years. Was a principal in DeKalb for 10 years, and then got a great opportunity to move up in administration that took her to Rockford. And I think she's in her 4th year there now. So yeah, amazing. She's really the smart one in the family. Everyone thinks it's me. She's really the smart one. Definitely the better looking one, but definitely the love of my life.
And you're on the same page about everything, or most things, I should say.
Yeah, well, most things. Right. Most things. Yeah, we're definitely on the same page. We believe that the opportunities that we've been afforded to go and get the education that we have, to get the jobs that we have, that we feel we have a responsibility to give back and give other people an opportunity to do bigger and better things with their lives.
Well, I know you're inspiring others. That's great. Now let's talk about the actual the place we're talking about, the community center here,
Sure.
Because you've already got some help. I have this right now. I was down there at the Taste of DeKalb, and a nice lady was there at your booth handing stuff out and telling us about that. Now you've gotten $100,000 from the city of DeKalb, $100,000 from the DeKalb County Community Foundation, $200,000 from the DeKalb County Mental Health Board. Tell us about that, what that means to that these people find out this is so important, what you're doing.
Yeah, so let me give a little bit of history behind that. So it was actually part of our church's, New Home Missionary Baptist Church, part of our strategic plan going back about 20 years ago, that we knew that there was more coverage space needed, specifically in the North Annie-Glidden community. When we bought the land that we bought 10 acres. We've only developed about 3.5. So we have 6.5 acres of farmland that we own that we knew would be used for future projects to expand, to be able to serve the community better. And so once we started to get really serious about what are the next steps? How do we get this going? We realized that we really can't do it by way of the church. It really needs to be done with a separate 501c3, and so that's kind of what helped us.
So that's why you established yourself as a nonprofit.
Yeah, that's why we established Project Hope, and we have some members of the church who are on the board, but we also have members of the community who are on the board as well. And it allowed us also to do some programming in the community that is non-religious. And so obviously, there's things the church does that's faith-based, but it also allows us to do some other things in the community that's not faith-based. And we can go after funding and grant dollars to do those things as well. So it's been an idea floating around for over 2 decades.
Okay.
So when we got serious and we finally got the 501c3 established, one of the first things we did is we sat down with a professional capital campaigner and entered into a relationship with her for about a year to teach us how do you establish a capital campaign. Along that, at the same time,
Not to interrupt you, Joe, but what is a capital campaigner? So she does this for a living. That's what she does.
She does it for a living, but what she really does is she really trains those who are going to be doing that work. She really trains them on how to do it. So one of the first things she does is she did a feasibility plan where she goes out, surveys our community, looks at other things that have been done, and then kind of puts together a roadmap of, hey, you have $0 now. Here's a plan on how you get to your goal, which is $5 million, by looking at corporations that are in the community, family donors that have a history of giving in the community, and kind of lays out a plan. Hey, here's a roadmap for how you could potentially get to to $5 million. So we spent about 6 months with her training us and doing a feasibility study. At the same time, we also worked kind of in reverse. We did what's called pre-construction. So we sat down with an architect, we sat down with a contractor who really allowed us to dream out loud and then put the plan together of what the community center would look like. And they also put it out to bid so that we could get a real number of what it would cost to build that. So that when we really did launch into our capital campaign, we were talking real dollars because we did all the legwork up front. And we weren't just throwing some mystery number out.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So we had to kind of work in reverse, but that's how we got to this place. So to answer your original question, to stand in front of city council and let them know, what we're trying to do for them to buy into that vision and make that first investment was huge. For the DeKalb County Community Foundation to come behind them and give a presentation to them, and they step in and believe in what we're doing is huge. For the mental health board, the largest one that we've gotten so far, to come behind and say, yeah, we believe in this and this could be transformative in this community. It really means a lot because now as we're out talking to larger donors as well, to know that we have that base there of very reputable, well-known entities saying we support this is extremely helpful.
That's very impressive. Now, I might get a devil's advocate question.
Sure.
Once they're committed to this money, is it yours then, or do you have to wait until you get to match the funds, or how does that work?
Great question. So many of them have worked different ways. Some of them are on multi-year payments. So for the foundation, it's a multi-year grant. For the mental health board, it's a multi-year grant. For the city of DeKalb, it was a one-time payout that we've already received. So we have all our finances and all of our banking and all that is established here locally at Resource Bank. So as those dollars come in, they go straight into an account at Resource Bank here in town.
That's the last local bank in the area.
The last local bank, and that's why our business is there, because they're the last one.
We're talking to Joe Mitchell about the Project Hope Community Center. So let's talk about some of the programs that became within. And the first one, the Back to School Bash, that goes back to 2013. Tell us about that, Joe.
Yeah, so Back to School Bash is something that we've been doing specifically as a church for over 10 years. That we moved under Project Hope because, again, it allows us to go after funding for projects like this because now it's established under a non-religious organization. But every year we give away anywhere from 500 to 1,000 backpacks that have school supplies in them to families here in the community. But what really makes the event even greater is the number of social services and non-for-profits who have tables at the event so they can connect people in the community with the work and the resources and the services that they make available. District 428, every school is represented at the event as well. So as parents come, if they don't have their kids registered yet, they can register right there at that event and ask any questions about the school that their kids are going to. The food bank is there to give away food to families in need. There's a couple of local sororities and fraternities that come out. They cook, give away food to those who want it as well. And then this year we added a new wrinkle, which we're looking to expand next year. We have Molina Health come out, and they did vaccinations for kids who need vaccinations.
Oh, wow.
As they prepare to go back to school, and that turned into a great relationship, and they want to expand that for next year as well. So just one of those things that connects to one of our principles is education, that we're trying to prepare families and kids to go back to school with everything that they need so that they can be great students and have a great school year.
Parents, and it must be great for single moms too. Single moms that are struggling, they have no help in there. You get all help, one-stop shop for them there.
Absolutely. And here's what's interesting, TD, especially when we talk about our community. You have full families that are struggling as well. You definitely have single moms who are struggling, but you have mom and dads who are struggling as well in our community as well. So absolutely, single mothers are blessed, but you have two-parent households who are blessed by this event as well, who are working full-time jobs but still struggling to make ends meet. It becomes hopefully a good place for them to get the resources for their kids as they prepare to send them back to school.
That's great. Now I got to meet Virginia Sharon. She's the alderwoman over in Sycamore, and I learned about Simba and Simza. I didn't know what that was. I thought it was the Lion King.
No, it's not quite.
Tell us about the Simba and Simza, what that is, Joe.
Yeah, sure. So it's they're two mentoring programs, and both of them are acronyms. Simba stands for Safe in My Brother's Arms, and Simsa stands for Safe in My Sister's Arm. And it's a mentoring program for young people, young men and young ladies ages 8 to 18 that meet on a monthly basis for programming. And really the idea around that is really helping them to connect not only with each other, but but with the community around them, and really helping them identify who they are and their purpose, while also educating them and giving them some tools to be better, productive members of society as well.
And I have 4 older brothers too, and I know what that relationship. I know it's a symbolic brotherhood, but
Yes.
it means a lot, doesn't it?
It really does. To look at someone and see them as a brother or see them as a sister really changes your outlook on humanity altogether. So, one of the things that we hope is if you see humanity as your brother and sister, maybe you're slower to acts of violence, right? Maybe you're quicker to help out when you see someone as a brother or a sister or a sibling. Maybe you're quicker to help out as well. So, yeah, we're very intentional around this idea of family, of siblings, because hopefully with that type of mindset, we can also change some societal things that are happening around us as well.
I am my brother's keeper, right?
I am my brother's keeper.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
And the GD program too. We hear about so many kids dropping out for whatever reason it might be, and they just don't again have that opportunity to get that diploma.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So it's been really cool to work with Kishwaukee College. They've been an amazing partner to bring a GED program specifically into North Annie-Glenn and to offer it right there in the community. They've had some amazing teachers.
Because they gotta get to school, right? That's it. They gotta get there.
They gotta get there. That's it. If they get there, they're good. And so it's been really, really, really good to work with them and for them to have the success rate that they've had in helping people get their GEDs.
And finally, the Youth Professional Leadership Development. What does that stand for?
Yeah, so we're in conversation right now specifically around a leadership program that would help specifically young people of color, give them some tools and some assets to help them be better leaders in our community. So there's people that want to run for school board, there's people that want to run for alderman, there's people that want to get involved in this, they want to get involved with that. So we want to develop a leadership program that gives them the tools, the communication tools, the community understanding, the political understanding, to really equip them to go out and do servant work in the community and leadership positions here in DeKalb.
That's great. That's fantastic. So let's not talk about the community center itself. Now, I don't know if you know Marshall Hendricks. Marshall Hendricks with the diapers for dads and fathers.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
we were talking about him building a community center here locally and starting here. Would you combine efforts in this situation? Or?
Yeah, so I know Marshall well. We have not dug deep into what a collaboration would look like, but definitely open to any conversation of what that would look like. Absolutely.
And you mentioned architectural drawings, so I have this off your website, Project Hope. People can go there and check it out. It's all laid out, isn't it, Joe? We see the gymnasium, we see the various meeting rooms that you have, and so you know exactly what you want to do here.
Yeah, we've laid it out, and some of that also, TD, came from the revitalization work that was done in the community. I think that was 2018, if I'm not mistaken. The city brought in some consultants, and they spent a year here looking at revitalizing North Annie-Glenn specifically. And one of the things that came out of that was the need for a community center, and people were voicing what that community center needed. So a lot of that came out of that work as well. But yeah, we think we've laid it out the way that the community center is needed. So it would be a full-size gym. There would be 3.
Let's get into specific stuff. First location, in real estate, they always say location.
Location. That's everything, right?
Yeah. Well, in this case, it really is, right? Because we want people to have access to this.
You want people to have access to it. Even when you think about community center and all the data and all the research we've done specifically around community centers, you really want them walkable, right? You want it to be able to, we want people who live around it to be able to walk to it. They don't need transportation. One of the things we hear about the YMCA, and this is not a knock against it because it's a wonderful facility, but if you don't have transportation, it's tough to get to because of where it is. And so the hope and the thinking was if it's right here in the community, sidewalks are available, people can walk, that it would make it more accessible for programming and for other things that will go on.
And I think I saw a stat that area, like 30 to 35% of the kids live in that area. So
30 to 35% of the students, I believe, in District 428 live in that community. Yes.
So that's perfect. There.
It's right where it needs to be.
We're talking to Joe Mitchell about the Project Hope Community Center. Now, it's going to be 12,000 square feet. Will contain a full gymnasium and a large gathering area for an industrial kitchen. So that's important, too, to have the kitchen there, too, right?
Yeah, the kitchen is a very important piece for a couple of reasons. One, if somebody wants to rent it out and they want to have a family reunion or they want to do whatever, you have to have a full-size kitchen. Also, there's been a lot of work done in the community as well with Opportunity DeKalb, with helping entrepreneurs get started, and many of them have businesses that are related to food. And so, again, as we try to look to get people launched, especially entrepreneurs, if there's a full-size kitchen in the area, how could that help them with their businesses and getting them launched as well as entrepreneurs. So yeah, it's that full size kitchen is huge.
Yeah, we had Virginia, Veronica from Veronica Garcia Martinez.
Yes.
With Tino's Tacos.
Yes.
Talk about the food and how she was able to get that and then able to sell that business. Classrooms now incubating. You talk about incubating offices. So with another starting up program, give them a little office space, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So what the design calls for right now is upstairs. There's about 800 square feet of void space right now that we really can build out based on the need in the community. We know that, again, around this idea of entrepreneurship, helping people launch their own businesses, maybe that could be an incubator space upstairs, a couple of offices, a couple of desks, maybe a meeting room. So as people are launching their business, they have places to hold meetings, they have places to have a desk to get work done. Again, the idea is helping people get businesses started.
I use myself as an example. I lost a radio job and I found out that the Cal Library has a recording studio.
There it is. Good fit, right?
That's an example of the stuff you'll be able to provide for people. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, the idea is how can we use this space to transform people's lives and make their lives better?
You had a lot of these here, but why in your printouts here? Why build the better health? You mentioned that as well. Youth development that's critical there because I know the idle hands are a devil's workshop.
Yes, sir. If you're not doing something, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble.
But then that peer factor, Joe, when when these kids start doing the right thing, and then that can work in reverse, right? The peer to do the right thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you're around the right people who are moving in a very positive direction, data shows that can rub off on you. Like if you're around people who are going to class, if you're around people that are doing their homework, chances are that's going to rub off on you, and you're going to want to do those things as well. So yeah, when you look at the data specific to community centers, it talks about how important that peer-to-peer engagement is, and how that can be transformative in kids' lives as well.
And then family support, there's a great public service announcement I see where this guy has this kid riding on his lawn, he yells at him, this little old lady's walking by, and he puts these glasses on, and you can see that this kid comes from a broken home, his parents are fighting, they abuse him, and he starts to realize what's going on. So I see the family support is so important, because we don't know what Johnny's facing when he goes home at night, right?
No, and that's interesting, because that's one of the first things I learned from my wife being a teacher is a lot of times what you're seeing displayed in classrooms or on the playground at school is a manifestation of what kids are dealing with at home, right? And so if there's programming, if there's resources available that can help Johnny when he's not in the classroom, that can maybe support Johnny and support Johnny's family, how does that then change Johnny's life? And he's a better student in school, and his behavior is different in school as well.
Yeah, we talked to our friends from CASA, they support the children, and they said they have
CASA will.
Yeah, and they have them paint a picture or draw a picture, and a lot of times they'll have like a black cloud over the house, and the kids don't have to say anything. It just speaks volumes, doesn't it, what they draw and what they're feeling.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, because kids go home, they're not in our peripheral anymore. We really don't know what they're dealing with at home, but we know they're dealing with something. So how can we put resources in the community where people have access to that can, again, change the trajectory of their lives?
That's great. We talked about educational opportunities, economic benefits, increased public safety. Now, what do you mean by increased public safety there?
Yeah, so if you look at any of the data around community centers, a lot of the data shows that it has the potential to have a very positive effect on public safety, meaning, to your point earlier, what did you say? An idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Yeah, idle hands are devil's workshop.
Idle hands is the devil's workshop. So if kids are engaged in programming, if kids have a place to go play basketball, if kids have a place to get access to a computer lab or to a STEM lab, if they're doing something positive, that means they have less potential to be out on the street doing something negative. And that's how you have a positive effect on public safety, because now you're giving kids something to do where they live, and they're just not walking around aimlessly looking for something to get in trouble with.
Yeah, right. I know when they started the skateboard park there.
Yes.
Over there by the post office, and now on Friday nights I go by, a bunch of kids hanging out, gonna go skateboard.
Absolutely, and they're in a safe place, they're in a lit place. You can see what they're doing, but again, that gives them something to do, and they're not just wandering the street trying to figure out, hey, what are we going to do today?
Now, energy efficiency improves lives and the planet. Tell us about that, because you guys are obviously going to be very efficient with this stuff.
Yes, one of the things that we've committed to is being very, very energy efficient and eco-friendly with the building. We know it's going to drive up the cost a little bit, but we felt it was important that we do the right thing, not only for the people who are exercising their freedom to be there, and in particular of the programs that are going on there, but for the community around it as well. So
and generations to come too, right?
And generations to come. We want this thing to be here long after we're all gone. Hopefully it's expanded and someone has grown it and made it bigger. But we know that sustainability is very important. And how do we sustain it efficiently and not put a major burden on electric and so on and so forth? How can we reduce that carbon footprint?
And you got the sports and exercise aerobic classes, basketball, Zumba. I like the yoga classes because my granddaughter is taking a yoga class in grade school now, and I'm like, well, maybe that's not such a bad thing. I don't know. To know that, how you have to get calm yourself down.
Absolutely, center yourself, right? Absolutely, meditate a little bit. Yeah, what's that old adage about the sentence about the football? If you build it, they will come, right? And that's kind of our thinking. Once it's built, once it's established, what you can do there is endless. TD. It just opens the door for the possibility. If we can think about it, now we have a space to do it, right? So if it's yoga, if it's seniors coming in and getting their coffee and walking on the basketball court in the morning, whatever it is, we now have a covered space. But if we can think about it, we probably can do it.
And then academic enrichment, we talked about the after-school tutoring. I think that's huge there. The STEM resources, we know about that. Summer classes, because we know the kids fall behind in the summertime, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so if there's a place locally where they can go indoors and say, hey, we're just going to focus on writing for an hour, we're going to focus on math for an hour, and then we're going to go shoot some hoop, and then we're going to go play outside. Keeping them engaged academically just only has a positive long-term effect on their academics holistically. And so, that becomes huge. And I think the other piece of it too is what positive effect can that have on District 428 as they're looking to make academic achievements? If there's partners around them helping them to improve those numbers, especially in the summertime, if there's people working around the district saying, hey, we want to do our part too to show the academic achievements in this community, and we're gonna have some tutoring programs and some other academic programs to help raise the academic scores of kids in the community. That's all positive stuff.
Well, this is going back a ways from when I was a kid there, but I failed Spanish and algebra, and I had to take both of them in high school.
Okay, okay, hold on. All right. This is. We gotta talk about this. When did you fail Spanish and algebra? Because the reason I'm asking is I failed them both my freshman year.
My freshman year in high school.
I failed them both my freshman year too.
I remember going to summer school and just with this hopeless feeling that I'm never going to get this down, and it affected the whole rest of my life. So that's what you're talking about, isn't it? With the kids?
Absolutely. And I think again, if you remember when we went to summer school, it was like 4 or 5 hours. It was boring. You're in a class with a bunch of people that don't want to be there. What if it was attached to other activities? What if it was attached to an awards program that if you do this all summer, we're going to Great America or we're going to the water park, right? There's an incentive there that allows kids to want to plug in more because there's a reward that they're going to get, at the end of the summer, or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, whatever. So I think there's different things that you can do at a community center that you can't necessarily do at a school district that I think could have a positive effect on kids wanting to go to it.
That's a great point, Tim. We talked about nutrition and the financial literacy resources. There'll be their homeowner classes. Boy, that's so important. I love working with the people that Habitat for Humanity, where they not only build a house for the people, they have them help build a house, right? And then you teach them how to maintain that house afterwards, right?
Absolutely, right? And so actually one of the things that we did with the collaboration with Northwestern Medicine and the mental health board is we did a financial health class where we really tried to teach financial literacy because the data also shows that when you're struggling financially, the negative effects it has on your health, right? So if we can give people a way to get out of credit card debt, if we can give people a way to start putting money aside for retirement one day, all that has a positive effect on your health. So if we can teach that, I think, again, it's improving people's holistic health as well.
And so many people, when you say parenting doesn't come with a guideline or a guidebook,
No, it does not.
Although you watching your mom and dad, I'm sure helps a lot. But you have that. You have parenting classes too, and I think that's great that you have that.
Yeah, and again, that's kind of another one of the things that we did with this collaboration with Northwestern Medicine and the mental health board. We did a parenting class, right? And it's not, hey, what you're doing is wrong.
Right.
Hey, what you're doing is right. Here's some proven things that work, right? Here's some data-driven things that work. Here's how, if there's an issue at the school, here's the proper way to deal with those issues. Here's who you need to talk to. Here's how you get engaged. If, something's happening in Johnny's life that you're not sure how to approach, here's some methods that you can use. It's really just giving people some resources and some help and not telling them, hey, you're doing this wrong or you're doing it right. It's just giving people more resources to do it better.
Well, I work over at the Hayes Gym now, too, and a lot of guys come in and play basketball.
Yeah.
And we're in the Hayes Library as well. And I see here you have naming rights for people that maybe would want to do that. Tell me, you have the women's locker room, the men's locker room. gymnasium, all prices if you want to get that big, right?
If you would like to put your name on any part of the community center, it's all based on the cost per square foot.
Okay.
And what and how large that space is. And so, yeah, there's definitely naming opportunities. We're in conversation with a couple of entities and a couple of families right now who are possibly looking at naming one or two of the spaces that we have. But yes, there's definitely naming rights, and all that information is on our website.
And how do you keep the momentum going now, Joe? Because obviously you're off to a tremendous start. My gosh.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When I jumped into this, I was very naive, TD. I thought this is, oh man, we're going to knock this out in 2.5 years. It's not a big deal to raise $5 million. I was humbled very quickly. It's a lot more work than I thought. But to your point, we have some great momentum. We will launch publicly next week, actually on the 23rd, with an event that we're having with some targeted people that we've invited, and then we will go public and really make all of the information available. And I also have some more targeted events as well. And so there's an excitement, there's a buzz that we have right now. We have a promo video that will be coming out next week as well, that hopefully people will share on social media. But there's a buzz right now that's keeping us energized, that's keeping the board energized as well, that's letting us know we're going in the right direction. The more people that we have that are jumping on board, making some very large donations, is giving us energy as well to say, hey, you guys are doing the right thing. We see the vision and we want to invest in the vision as well. So we're excited. We're tired, but we're excited. We're excited. We're excited.
Yeah, you got to keep that momentum going. That's so important there. And you guys have done such a tremendous job. And it's so important to let people know. Now, I know you speak to a lot of people on a weekly basis, but what would you want to say right now to people in DeKalb County about how important this is and why it's needed?
Yeah, I think the negative narratives and connotations around one particular part of DeKalb, I think we have an opportunity to change that from a negative to a positive. We've seen a lot of things come down in North Annie-Glidden, and what does it mean now to build something up? What does it mean now to see an investment in that community? That also means that we're investing in people's lives as well, and that's all we're trying to do. We just want to build a nice space that's used to make people's lives better. So if you believe in that, if you believe that you want to be a part of that, to see this particular community change, we invite you to visit our website. The donation information is there. Information about the community center is there, and help us reach our $5 million goal.
You know, my wife has taught me not to say that you're lucky, that you're blessed, and I've been blessed to do this podcast because I've gotten to know people like yourself, which I've heard Joe Mitchell mention, I've been in
hopefully it was good
25 years, yeah. But I had no idea what you were, like with the kids and all that you do, I have no idea that you were doing all that stuff, so it's amazing, man, what you do, and I just can't thank it. I know I speak for the community when I say thank you for everything that you've done, and more importantly, we'll continue to do it.
Yes,
so we're going to hold you to that.
Yeah, please hold my feet to the fire. Like we are committed to this. We are committed to see it through. I grew up here. I went to elementary, middle school, and high school in DeKalb. So what's the old saying? Once you put your toe in the Kish, it's kind of hard to leave.
Exactly.
I can't tell you the number of times we've canoed up and down the Kish, and we've fished there as kids. So I'm DeKalb through and through. And so I love this community. My family, we're raising our kids here. My wife, again, was raised in the next community over. We won't but we believe in this community. We want to invest in this community. We want to be part of the reason that this community gets better.
Well, it's been a real honor to get to know you better and remind people now if they want to learn more about Project Hope, what's the best way to do that?
Yep, you can jump on our website, Project Hope Inc. Project Hope of DeKalb.com, and you can get a lot of information there, see what our programs are, get more information about the community center, get information about if you'd like to make a donation as well. And
we got naming rights. You got
naming rights out there as well. And if you want to volunteer to work with any of our programs as well, you can find that information on the website as well. And we're trucking along towards this $5 million goal.
It's showing your age. You're using trucking.
I'm sorry. We're moving along.
Check out Project Hope Community Center. Joe, big thanks to our sponsors. Big thanks to my nephew Ethan Davis, but a bigger thanks to Joe Mitchell. Joe, thank you again for your time and what you're doing for the community. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. Thank you.
That's TD Ryan Unleashed podcast number 30.
TD Ryan Unleashed is brought to you by Scott Zyman, your State Farm insurance agent. Scott can help you save money bundling your home and auto insurance. Call 815-748-3101 or stop by at 2587 Sycamore Road, Suite D in DeKalb. Like a good neighbor, Scott Zyman and State Farm are there. Pizza Villa, pizza, pasta, sandwiches, and more at 824 West Lincoln Highway in DeKalb. For delivery or pickup, call 815-758-8116 or go to pizzavilla.com. My Insurance Guys in Sycamore, family owned, local, reliable reliable. My Insurance Guys cover Medicare to auto and everything in between. Call us in Sycamore at 815-899-0950. My Insurance Guy. Business, auto, home, life, and health at myinsurancegyguy.com. And Elder Care Services of DeKalb County. Safe, secure, and supported. Helping you stay at home where you want to be. Call 815-758-6550 or stop in at 1701 East Lincoln Highway in DeKalb or on the web at ecsdekalb.org.